Namaskar. Today it's May 8th, 2026. Welcome to day 56 of Satvik Yogi Path. Each year on March 14 begins my 100-day journey in returning to the essence of yoga in celebration of International Day of Yoga on June 21st. This year I chose to revisit Maharishi Patanjali's Yoga Sutra and share my daily practices inspired by it. My practices are not any ritual or any aesthetics or for any performance, but it is by awareness. This is Satvik Yogi Path, a simple global way of living with clarity. Welcome to day 56 of Satvik Yogi Path. Today it's Yoga Sutra 2.5, that is the fifth sutra from chapter 2 Sadhana Pad. Let us recite the Yoga Sutra. Anitya Shuchi Dukh Anatmasu. Nitya Shuchi Sukh Atmakhyati Ravidya. Once again, let's recite it. Anitya Shuchi Dukh Anatmasu. Nitya Shuchi Sukh Atmakyater Avidya. So let us now try and understand what it really means. This means avidya is mistaking the impermanent for permanence, the impure for pure, misery for pleasure, and the non-self for self. Or in other words, ignorance is the misconceiving of the permanence as permanence, impermanence as permanence, impurity as purity, misery as pleasure, and non-self as self. So yesterday in day 55, we learned that avidya is the field from where all the afflictions of mind arise, all the klesh arise. Maharishi Patanjali today defines avidya itself, the fundamental misseeing that shapes how the mind interprets life. So, avidya is not just an ordinary ignorance, it is misperception, a distortion in how the mind sees reality. That's avidya. So, it is not an ordinary ignorance, it is a misperception. It's very important to understand avidya, the klesh, the affliction, because it is the field from where all the klesh arise. So Maharishi Patanjali describes four confusions. The impermanent mistaken as permanent. Something that is not permanent, we mistake it as permanent. For example, sometimes our own life, we mistake it as a permanence, whereas it is not. If it has started, it will end. So Again, the impure mistaken as pure. The painful mistaken as pleasant, or the misery mistaken as pleasant. The non self mistaken as self. So when these confusions soften, the kleshas soften. When they dissolve, clarity becomes natural. Once again, let us recite Yog Sutra 2.5, or the fifth Yog Sutra from Sadhana Pad, which is the second chapter. Anitya Shuchi Dukh Anatmanasu. Once again, Anitya Shuchi Dukh Anatmasu. Nitya Shuchi Sukh Atmakhyatiravidya. So let us break it down word by word, what it means. Anitya. Anitya, made up of two words, a and nitya. Nitya means permanent or permanence. Anitya, impermanence. Impermanent. Now, nitya is permanent. So, anitya as nitya. Ashuchi. Ashuchi is impure and shuchi is pure. Dukh is painful, misery. Sukh is pleasant. Anatma, non-self. Atma, self. Khyati, which is misperception. And avidya is the misseeing itself. So the shlok, the Yog Sutra 2.5 says, Anitya dukh, anitya shuchi dukh, anatmasu, nitya shuchi, sukhatma, khyatir, avidya. So which again means ignorance is the misconceiving of impermanence as permanence, impurity as purity, misery as pleasure, and non self as self. Avidya is the misperception of, avidya is the misperception that reverses the truth. That is avidya. That reverses the truth. So let me quickly give a shout out to the wonderful Jacqueline Najera 5417. Hi Jacqueline, how are you? Love Do Mo Jai. Hello, how are you? So nice to even read your username. Love Domo J. How beautiful. Thank you so much. Okay, you wrote such a, you are so kind. You wrote, you look pretty. Thank you. But I want to tell you something. You see your reflection. And it's true. If you feel you are pretty, you would see prettiness in others. And you know what? This is not who I am saying. My mom always used to say that you see your reflection. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Thank you. So now avidya makes the mind, this is going to be very interesting. Avidya, which is not the ordinary ignorance, the misperception. Avidya makes the mind cling to what cannot last. It's not going to last forever. But avidya makes us cling to something that is not gonna last. Avidya makes the mind trust what is unstable. Avidya makes the mind chase what brings pain. And avidya makes the mind identify with what we are not. I mean, let's just take a moment and think about it. I mean, I also have in my own life the klesh, avidya, working at some point or the other. Avidya makes the mind cling to what cannot last. And I can only think of my mom's last few moments. And it felt as if I just tried my best to just cling to that moment and always believed that the moment is going to last forever. But the truth is that I was clinging on to believing that the moment is is permanent. So avidya makes, and perhaps somewhere I'm still not able to, I'm still clinging on to those moments. And that is avidya. And that's why Maharishi Patanjali says in yesterday, Yoga Sutra 2.4, that avidya, misunderstanding or the misconceiving, the ignorance, is the field from where that is the root of the root causes of the sufferings. Avidya. And this is the root distortion. When it weakens, the mind becomes lighter, quieter, more truthful. Now, there is this beautiful analogy that I can share with you. Oh, thank you, Sour Kitty ZX. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you. The analogy is of the glass, fogged glasses. All right. So when you look through fogged, all fogged up glass, you don't see clearly. You don't see clearly. You don't blame the world outside. You simply, all you do is just clear the glass. Just clear the glass. Maharishi Patanjali says that avidya is the fog and yoga is the clearing. Avidya is the fog and the yoga is the clearing. Avidya is the expectation that the world will behave in ways it cannot. Clarity begins when we see things as they are, not as we wish them to be. When I see clearly, I stop expecting permanence from what is temporary. So, we have yoga, some practices today to make this happen, to clear the fog. So, today's practice is we would notice one moment of misseeing. Misseeing. We will observe it without judgment. So we would first notice one moment of misseeing And then we will observe without judgment. And then let the breath soften the expectation. And then gentle repetition of Om on it. And then bhavna on clarity, contemplation on clarity. So let us begin. Oh, how lovely. That is so nice. Indranil Beswas 3270. So beautiful. Thank you for you who have joined. Thank you so much. Baby's day out for my niece today. Excellent. That's very nice. That's very, very good. Have fun. Now let us start our stillness practice. So the first stillness practice is we sit and settle. You may when I say the sit and settle. Sit and settle. So just sit if you're seated like me. Sit with back and spine straight. Roll your shoulder if you have to. Make sure your back and spine is straight. Your chin slightly tucked in. And you look at a point at the eye level right in front. And most importantly, your smile. Your smile is on. And now so let us learn how to practice non-judgment, not judging. And we do that with our breath. So first, we just breathe by placing one hand gently over your navel, nabhi, the navel, the anchor of your body. So we place one hand on our navel and you may close your eyes and we would breathe few times, say four times. And you would just breathe, you would just observe your breath. Just observe. You would not say or feel or think that, oh, my breath is, oh, I'm too fast. I'm breathing too fast. Or am I breathing too slow? Nothing. You will only observe your breath. So let's begin. Breathe in, breathe out. And you would observe your own breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. And one last time. Breathe in, breathe out. And now that you observed your breath, now you would breathe with awareness. And how you do it? Again, make sure your back and spine is straight. Your chin is slightly tucked in and you keep smiling. So now you breathe with awareness, with inhalation. You have your hand placed gently over your navel. And now as you breathe in, it rises from your belly, your navel. So like a balloon, as you breathe in, it extends. As you breathe out, it distends. Breathe in, breathe out. So that's the awareness you're using. And you have your hand placed gently over your navel. So let us breathe 4 times with awareness. Let's do it. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. And the last, breathe in, breathe out. And open your eyes. So, this awareness can work very well if you are also making sure that your back and spine is straight, it's and your chin all tucked in, and your belly, it rises with inhalation, and then it goes back in with exhalation, and you can feel it with your hand placed gently over your navel. So that's your awareness. You're breathing in, breathing out. And next step is, now with awareness, we equalize our breath. With awareness, we equalize our breath. So our breath is not yet settled. We are going in steps. We are also learning not how to just observe and not judge. So let us equalize our breath, and we do it by count of, I will make a count of 2. Inhale and exhale. So the counts will, I will equalize a count. And that is pranayam 1. That's the first breath technique when we equalizing our breath. So let us equalize our breath with a smile on your face. I'll count to 2 and we take 3 breath cycles. Breathe in, 2. Breathe out, 2. Breathe in, 2. Breathe out, 2. Breathe in, 2. Breathe out, 2. And stay like that. And open your eyes. And now comes the fourth step in settling our breath. And if we are able to do this fourth step well, then we can say that our first stillness practice, which is to sit and settle, will be complete. So the fourth step is that we increase the exhalation by doubling the count of inhalation. And that is your breath technique number 2, where you increase the exhalation by double count from inhalation. So again, we will take 3 breath cycle, that is inhale and exhale, 1 breath cycle. So we'll take 3 breath cycle, and just to be comfortable, I'll just count 2 for inhalation and 4 for exhalation. So let's do it. Place your hand gently over your navel. Now with full awareness, we will be doubling the exhalation count. Let's begin. Back and spine straight. Let's begin. Breathe in, 2. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. And stay like that. And open your eyes. So this fourth step can actually settle your breath. So finally, you can say that this stillness practice where we sit and just settle is complete. Now we move on to the second stillness practice, which is notice one confusion. Who would have thought that one day we would be sitting just to notice one confusion? So that confusion could be a moment you expected permanence, purity, pleasure, or identity, whereas it was impermanence, impurity, pain, non identity. So let us notice one moment, one confusion, a moment of misconceiving. Let us observe, observe, remember, observe. When we observe, when we notice, we are not judging. We are not pondering over that thought. So, if we are to notice one moment of confusion, then we are not judging that, oh, I should have done it this way, or why did I think of so we are not doing anything. We are only noticing, just like how we observed our breath without judging. It's fast, it's slow, it's erratic. So we are not doing anything. We are only observing, we are noticing one moment of confusion. So, even to do that, you may close your eyes. So, for me, if I take that moment of confusion to be the clinging to a moment of impermanence, believing that it is permanent. So, anitya, which is impermanence, as nitya, permanence. So, now that if you have noticed one confusion, then we just observe gently, no judgment, just noticing, no judgment. Now, once you have noticed the mistake or the misperception or the misconceiving, then we will let the breath soften that expectation. And to do that, we would, as we practiced settling our breath, we would allow the mind to release the grip. Because at present, my mind has a tighter grip on this confusion that I'm clinging to the impermanence, believing that it is the permanence. So, with breath, I will allow the mind, because I've already noticed, observed the confusion. So I will allow the mind to leave the grip. And how do I do that? With breath. So now that I've observed, I've noticed the confusion. And I'll bring my focus to my navel, on my breath, and I breathe in, breathe out. So as you softly breathe in and breathe out, you are allowing your mind to loosen the grip, to loosen the grip. And to do it in the next step is we will repeat gently over Om, the primordial sound, as we have discussed and also learned how Om, the sound, is to be produced. It rises in the belly, it moves through the chest, and it softens at the lips. So let's do it. 3 Om. And also, Om is where your stillness, breath stillness practice that you did, where you increased the exhalation from the inhalation count, will come into play. So, Om is a great way to practice your breathing techniques, breath techniques. And the objective is that we slow down as we exhale. Gently, softly, and slowing down, softening our breath. So let's do it. We take a deep breath in and exhale with Om. We do it 3 times. Take few short breaths. And let's begin. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath in. And the last, take a deep breath in. And gently open your eyes. And now comes the last but not the least practice of stillness as we practice bhavna, contemplation. So, what is the contemplation today? The contemplation is on clarity. That clarity begins when I see what is temporary as temporary. Clarity begins when I see clearly something as it is. The fog is cleared. I just cleared the fog. And now I can see the outer world as it is. Hence, clarity begins when I see what is temporary as temporary. So, I have a challenge for you, day 56 challenge. Let me give a shout out to MA Ma 3 LOMAT underscore 3 AMA. Hi, thank you for joining. Thank you so much. So, the challenge today for day 56 is that you would notice one moment today. One moment where you expected permanence from something temporary. You would notice one moment where you expected permanence over something that is temporary. So that's the challenge. So you are expecting something permanence, a moment of permanence, whereas that moment is of temporary. So day 56 teaches us that misunderstanding begins with misseeing. Always remember the fog on the glasses. Well, if you wear glasses, the fog on the glasses, and if you do not wear the glasses, then the dust on the mirror. All we need to do is just clean the dust on the mirror or just clean the fog on the glasses to see things as they are. So that is what day 56 teaches us, that misunderstandings begin with misseeing, misconceiving, misperceiving, misperception. And clarity begins with seeing things as they are. Thank you for practicing with me today. Your steadiness is what inspires me every day to be here and share my daily practices. We meet again tomorrow. Until then, stay warm, stay open, and most importantly, with your smile, stay honest to your story. Thank you.